Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. The a little bit different one, but there's been a few things that have recently popped up on my phone at work, and it's kind of caught my attention a little bit. Some good, some bad, some interesting. All of it's got to pretty much pertain to Monster Hunter Wilds. Well, half of it, anyways, pertains to Monster Hunter Wilds. To kind of catch people up, there's been a lot of updates and stuff with Wilds, but some things are for expansion of the game, content and whatnot. Some of it's to kind of clean things up and that sort of deal. Some of it is kind of pushing back some much needed updates, but it- it- I'm not Capcom. I'm not Capcom. I can't, you know, move things around of like, oh, we should do it here and we should do this there. Yeah. So first off, one major thing that's come up recently, and this has been this came up in a recent event. I can't remember where. Game show. That's what it was. But there is another Final Fantasy 14 collab or Final Fantasy collab in general that's coming to Monster Hunter Wilds. In Worlds, we got Behemoth, right? Which they added a whole bunch of new mechanics specifically to Behemoth to kind of mimic the MMO raid sort of style of things. Still went in there with 4 players, but there was a legitimate aggro system. And funny enough, if you've never had the pleasure of dealing with Behemoth or its more beefy cousin Extremoth, if you haven't had to deal with either of them, you actually see the same system come up in the Fatalis fight and the Safijiva fight. So it was a cool system. I think it's very good idea. I do think it came up in something else. I can't quite remember very well, but in the new update that's coming out, they're going to be bringing in um Omega Weapon, which more of a unique type of boss that's come out of the Final Fantasy series. It's been in quite a few games. I think it first came out in Final Fantasy like 4 or 5 or something like that. I'm not very deep in Final Fantasy, so beats me. At any rate, yeah. So he's coming out for a collaboration event, and then um, along with that was all the other updates that came out with title update 3. Things like 9-star monsters, increase to endgame content, which wasn't story stuff still, but what we did get was another grinding tool or another grinding objective, which is basically just you can get talismans. Yay! You get RNG talisman rolls and stuff like that, but you have to do the hardest content currently in the game, other than Arc Tempered, which is 9-star monsters. I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people have issues with the spongy or the overzealous like health pools and stuff, and then of course the damage and that sort of thing. So um, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't had my own opportunity to go ahead and try it yet. I've been trying to do a whole bunch of other things in the process, but that's whatever. The other thing, right? So there is the Festa that's coming out in October and stuff, which I'm excited to see. I've never really delved deep into the like actual like con level stuff that Capcom's put on for Monster Hunter in the past. But one of the other things that's interesting about this is there's apparently a tournament coming out for it too, that as you can see is getting hosted in San Diego, California. It's really weird because like I've known about tournaments with Monster Hunter. The thing is with these tournaments though, is it's always been, well, can't say always for the most part, but from what I've seen and the small amount of research, is it's mostly been things tied to arena specifically, not really delving a whole lot of other stuff. This one I did look a little bit into it. There's not a whole lot of details as specifically how it works, like in depth, like step 1, step 2, step 3. But it looks like right now they're just gonna have people do an arena quest for the Quermetres, the fire chicken, not the cuckoo, the fire chicken. It's very different. Um, but it looks like the first hunt's going to be that, and then the top like 8 or 10 teams or whatever advance to the next round, and then they duke it out from there. Okay. Um, not to really be a party pooper, but I don't really see how that is going to like test skills because everything is open, right? There's no limits to anything other than you have to complete it as fast as possible. Like that's it. So the, I don't know, coming from some competitive backgrounds and stuff, that's not testing anything. That's just testing to see how well you can make big numbers bigger, right? And I feel like that's going to end up kind of being very niche and boiled down to the same thing, especially this early on in Wilds. There is build diversity, sure, but people have already like scrubbed through everything to find the most meta shit possible. More than likely, we'll end up seeing a lot of that at the tournament. Yeah. One of the one too though that people have been very much harping on still has been the computer I can't think of it right now. The computer viability performance. There you go. Computer performance with Wilds. There's still an ongoing issue. People have had still mixed successes and failures and stuff like that. I do actually have some friends that are playing on PC. They're still able to play. Okay. They're not necessarily having the same experience that like me and my wife are on the PS5 and consoles and stuff, but like at least they're able to play. One thing though is a lot of people were looking forward to having a bit more reprieve from the issues in Title Update 3. That didn't happen. Some things did, but nothing super impactful as in the is in a direct way to relieve some of the issues with optimizations on the PCs and stuff. They are still planning on moving that over to Title Update 4. So we'll have to wait for it. I don't know. I know right now is just people aren't necessarily happy. They're still hopeful. They are very optimistic. They're very optimistic. But again, it's up and down, which really sucks because I know Wilds is by far their most like, at least in my opinion, Wilds is very much their peak perform or their peak mode, their peak, literally their form of of Monster Hunter with everything that they want from the original games. It's here. It is. And it's a bummer that it's just not working out very well. So one other thing too, and this is the other half that we're gonna get into, is that a while back there has been some talk and a trailer that came out for a Monster Hunter mobile game. Now, they've done this in the past. They're still doing it right now, actually. If you go look on your Play Store right now, Niantic has a Pokemon Go, but Monster Hunter flavors, which is Monster Hunter Go. They like the Go idea, apparently. So that's already out there. They've had some other ones too. I think it was like Monster Hunter Excel or something like that, kind of tied into that same deal. But we have Monster Hunter Outlanders, which, in case you guys aren't fully sure, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit, probably mostly of the trailer here. That way, then you can actually kind of see what this actually is here. So. All right, so that's the whole trailer. I've got a lot of high hopes for it. I'm worried because it's still a mobile game, and I am just very cautious about mobile games. But it's whatever. We kind of take what we can get. Being as Monster Hunter hasn't really branched out like that in a whole lot. So we'll see how it turns out. One thing though that's very interesting is the Tokyo Game Show actually is getting a presentation of Outlanders. So, in that, as you can see, that's coming up September 25th through the 28th. I am curious to know how that's going to work. We'll see. At least for myself, I'm very much curious and to see how well this is gonna get presented over at the game show. I'm curious, worried, apprehensive if we're gonna get something similar to possibly like the whole Diablo online or whatever escapade. You guys don't have phones. Um, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but just anything that comes out with like these main huge titles that from consoles or PCs and that stuff like that that move to mobiles, there's a chance that there just might be a loss of a translation. You know what I mean? Just a little not talky to each other. I don't know. We'll find out. So the other one too is there's some questions that did came out, some Q&A and stuff. Kind of some very generic stuff. Core experience of the game. It's supposed to be just an open world survival, which you can see in the trailer. I wonder if Capcom is going to have to deal with lawsuits from Nintendo because I did see a glider, which I'm pretty sure is in Legend of Zelda. We don't know yet. We'll wait patiently. And then of course target audience just being of course everybody, right? Large monsters. Really? Really? No, it's a petting zoo. You got Capcom. There it's Monster Hunter Outlanders, which is just MHO petting zoo. You got them. Yep. It's fine. I granted yes too. They did ask if there's unique stuff in there as well. It doesn't look I don't know. Maybe. Depends how well it takes off. We don't know yet. And then debut trailer, outdoor movement, it's talking about it seamlessly and stuff. At least in the trailer, there if it's supposed to be like actual gameplay footage, I'm a little worried because a lot of that seems very high fidelity. Not everybody is going to have like an ROG phone, and not everybody's going to have top of the line, foldable phones and shit. So we'll have to really see. I'm wondering if it's going to stick directly to the mobile phone market and maybe get into some of these like portable devices, like Nintendo Switch 2, Steam Deck, stuff like that. Hopefully it can get brought out a little bit, get kind of like a Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and that sort of stuff. Hopefully. Then the other one was the just wondering like overall content, right? So variety of quests, open world exploration, challenge based missions. Again, like you would expect from Monster Hunter, it's not just about hunting, it's about other stuff too. But mostly hunting. So that's kind of everything that I've found recently in a nutshell. And as of course, didn't spend a lot of time reading things. I apologize. So if it comes out choppy and stuff like that, again, I'm sorry. But regardless, I'm excited to see everything. Hopefully Wilds gets better. Hopefully Outlanders is awesome. I do plan on playing that to some extent. I don't know to the extent I'm going to go, streams or videos or whatever. I don't know. But regardless, again, I'm excited. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to those who watch now, those who watch later. If you want to see more stuff like this, I do have some videos of the past. If you are curious about why I want to talk about Monster Hunter so much, I have almost 100 streams of Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, almost at Final Fantasy. That is incorrect. Very incorrect. And then also Wild Hearts and stuff like that. So if you like today's video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Both of those help me out so much, and we're moving right along and that sort of deal. So I'm super proud and everything else. Enough of that. I am out of here. Take care. Bye.